It's time to break up the duo, and I'm saying it with the utmost confidence. When you have been to multiple conference finals, when you have reached the NBA finals, and you see that the way that they play, they don't complement each other well. And to be honest with you, I ain't saying they have to be best friends, but it's alarming to me when I watch and I look across the internet and I see guys working out throughout the summertime, and I have never seen Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown link up one time. One time.
You better preach.
And so all good things have to come to an end. And if I'm the Celtics, after this series, because I believe that the Miami Heat is going to close this out in Game 4, I have to reevaluate some things. And I'm sorry, although we love Jaylen Brown, and I think he's one of the most underrated players in the game today, it is time to break up the duo. And I told Stephen A. this before I came on the show. If I'm the Celtics, I would actually look into a sign and trade for Damian Lillard. Who says no? Do Portland says no? Hell no. Do the Celtics say no? Hell no. It's time for change. It's time for something different. It's time to break these two guys up.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Bam! Get on, Kendrick Perkins. The Boston Celtics are now NBA champions for the 2024 NBA season. On top of getting owned, the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum got it done for the Celtics, something Kendrick Perkins said would never get done. The sweetest feeling in the world. In all seriousness, though, this is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Jaylen Brown winning an NBA Finals MVP award for the Celtics. It has been a long journey for the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum over the years, but they finally reached the mountaintop of the basketball world by becoming NBA champions. The Celtics were able to easily defeat the Mavericks in 5 games, as they were clearly the better team throughout the NBA Finals. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Did Jaylen Brown deserve to win the NBA Finals MVP award? Based on what I saw in the NBA Finals, I think Jaylen Brown definitely did. I think that there were a lot of strong cases you could have made for multiple players on the Boston Celtics. Heck, some people have even said that Brad Stevens could be the Finals MVP for the Boston Celtics. And the reason why people say that is because Brad Stevens, the GM, built a hell of a squad for the Boston Celtics, and how they have so many good players on their roster, especially in the modern day salary cap, where it is harder than ever to get good players in the NBA. And obviously the Boston Celtics had an incredibly deep team. This is easily the best team of the 2020s decade in the NBA. You look at how the Boston Celtics, they had 2 star players in Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They were really good in their roles. And then they have really good role players in Al Horford, Derek White, Drew Holiday, and then of course you've also got the star player in Kristaps Porzingis. I know he didn't really play a whole lot in this year's playoffs, but when he did play, he was a very good player for the Boston Celtics. And then of course you've got role players coming off the bench such as Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser. Obviously Sam Hauser is known as Mr. 3-point sniper, because all he does is what? Hit threes. And what does Peyton Pritchard do? Hit half-court shots to end the quarter. And obviously the Boston Celtics have the deeper team, and the coaching of Joe Mazzulla has massively improved for the Boston Celtics. Now, to be fair, when you have a squad that is this good on paper, I think most coaches are going to look good with that. And I think a lot of NBA coaches could have won an NBA championship with this Boston Celtics roster. Even I think Steve Clifford could have won a title with the Celtics roster, but that is another discussion for another day. I want to talk about how Jaylen Brown got the Boston Celtics to win an NBA championship, and how Jaylen Brown played a huge role in the success of the Boston Celtics. You look at how Jaylen Brown, a lot of people doubted him, including Kendrick Perkins last offseason. You also look at the fact how Jaylen Brown got himself paid a ton of money over the offseason. A lot of people criticized the contract, and I know some people that were saying that Jaylen Brown was on one of the worst contracts in the NBA, mainly because of the fact that Jaylen Brown was getting paid over $300 million. But you know what? Jaylen Brown backed up the confidence that the Celtics had in him. He improved this game, and now he's Finals MVP. He also played a tremendous role in the resurgence of the Boston Celtics this year. Obviously, you look at how the Boston Celtics have been kicking the door in terms of being able to win a championship, but every year they've basically fallen short until this year. But it seems like this year they finally cracked the code, and they did that because they decided to get better role players around Jayson, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. And you look at how Jaylen Brown became an alpha dog this year. What did we think of Jaylen Brown before this year, or even during the year? We thought of Jaylen Brown as the Robin to Jayson Tatum's Batman. What the Boston Celtics realized is, though, Jaylen Brown might actually be better suited for a Batman type role, and that they need to be featuring Jaylen Brown more in the offense. So that's exactly what the Boston Celtics did. They let Jaylen Brown take over games on offense more often. You look at who hit the big shots for the Boston Celtics more often than not. That was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was the one hitting the key shots for the Boston Celtics during tight games. They realized that Jayson Tatum cannot be the closer for the Boston Celtics, and that even though Jayson Tatum is a really good basketball player, they recognized that they needed to get other players around Jayson Tatum to improve their game, and obviously they found that in Jaylen Brown. I used to say Jaylen Brown played his Robin role so well to the point where he could honestly be confused as Batman, and Jayson Tatum could be confused as Robin. And you know what? I don't think that is going to be ending anytime soon, because you look at how Jaylen Brown, he won Finals MVP. He also won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Jayson Tatum didn't win those awards. Jaylen Brown won those awards, and you look at how Jayson Tatum was not necessarily the most efficient shooter out there. And even though Jayson Tatum had a good performance in Game 5, let's be honest, even if Jayson Tatum sucked in Game 5, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because he was the one that was scoring towards the end of the game. He was essentially front running, but that's another discussion for another day. The guy that was obviously a huge difference in the game was Jaylen Brown. You look how Jaylen Brown takes over games early and often, and you look at how he's not afraid of big moments. A lot of NBA players are afraid of big moments, and they're afraid to hit big time shots, but that's not the case of Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is the exact opposite of that. Jaylen Brown lives for the moment. Jaylen Brown gets hyped up for the moment. And you know what? Jaylen Brown steps up to the challenge of being a great basketball player in the National Basketball Association. And if there is no Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics are not going to be NBA champions this year. You look at how the Celtics, yes, they've had great role players. Yes, they have Jayson Tatum, who's one of the best players in the world. But Jaylen Brown played a tremendous role in the success of the Boston Celtics. In fact, he played such a huge role in the success of the Celtics this season that you might have to question to yourself, is Jaylen Brown actually a better basketball player than Jayson Tatum? And my answer to that question is yes, because who won Eastern Conference Finals MVP? Jaylen Brown. Who won NBA Finals MVP award? Jaylen Brown. Who's the one that hit the big time shot in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals? Jaylen Brown. Who's the one that got off to a hot start in Game 5? Jaylen Brown. And you look at how Jaylen Brown didn't have a bad shooting night whatsoever in each of the Celtics' 4 wins in the NBA Finals. I can't say that for Jayson Tatum, but look, I'm not here to tear down Jayson Tatum. I'm here to praise Jaylen Brown. And obviously, Jaylen Brown won an NBA championship with the Boston Celtics because he was the one that was able to get the job done for the Boston Celtics. You also look at how Jaylen Brown locked down Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving throughout the series. I know some people are going to say, oh, Luka Doncic still scored a lot of points. How did Jaylen Brown lock down Luka Doncic? But you look at how he limited Luka Doncic and other facets of the game. And you also look at the fact how Luka Doncic had to work really hard to get those 30 points a game that he was trying to hustle for. And obviously, I've never seen Luka Doncic struggle so much to score the basketball by Luka Doncic standards. Obviously, Luka Doncic was a little rattled up by Jaylen Brown. And obviously, Jaylen Brown locked down Kyrie Irving in this series as well. Kyrie Irving looked like an absolute scrub for the Dallas Mavericks throughout the NBA Finals, and that was because of the defense of Jaylen Brown. Speaking of defense for the Boston Celtics, I thought their defense was tremendous throughout this year's NBA Finals. You look at how Jayson Tatum, he did a great job getting rebounds. You look at Al Horford, he did all the little things well. He got all the hustle stats. Same thing goes for Derek White. Same thing goes for Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday also locked down the guards of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, so that's also pretty impressive as well. And then, of course, you've got Kristaps Porzingis, who proved to be one of the best shot blockers in the world when he was healthy for the Boston Celtics. And you also look how Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, they also play defense for the Boston Celtics. You look at this Celtics roster top to bottom, everybody on this team plays defense. Jayson Tatum plays defense. Jaylen Brown plays defense. Drew Holiday, I know for damn sure he plays defense. And then you've got Derek White, he plays defense as well. And then you've got Porzingis, he's an excellent rim protector. And then you got Sam Hauser, who tries his best on defense. He gets all the hustle stats, and you also look at how he can space the floor effectively. And then you've got Al Horford and Peyton Pritchard, who did a good job playing defense for the Boston Celtics as well. Just this Celtics team in general plays defense, and you have to commend the Boston Celtics for that. In a league where it is easier than ever to not play defense, the Boston Celtics are doing the exact opposite of that, and they're going out there and playing strong defense. And obviously, you look at how Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they have a lot to be proud of, and how they overcame a lot of obstacles to become NBA champions. You look at how they've had to deal with all the tough years of falling short in the NBA playoffs, but they finally got the job done. I love the fact how Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum didn't try to switch teams whenever the going got tough. They decided to stick through it, and obviously now they're NBA champions. Now they're the ones that can say, I'm the champion. I got this hardware and you don't have it. And obviously, Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum have got to be proud of themselves. I'm proud that the NBA voters voted Jaylen Brown to be Finals MVP. He definitely deserves it. I know you can make a strong case for Jayson Tatum and the other role players on the Boston Celtics, but Jaylen Brown, to me, deserves Finals MVP the most out of all of these guys. So that is why Jaylen Brown definitely deserved to win the NBA Finals MVP award, as he was the most consistent Celtics player throughout the NBA Finals. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran and that Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.